How shocking was Kawhi Leonard last night? After the game, billionaire owner Steve Ballmer couldn't hide his excitement and went straight to shake his hand. Cade Cunningham showed Kawhi the purest respect after the game, and Harden even teamed up with his teammates to surprise him, dumping cold water on his head in celebration. All of it was because of a performance that deserves to be written into history. In today's NBA, dropping 40 or 50 points in a single game has almost become routine. But Kawhi's 55 points, 11 rebounds, 5 steals, and 3 blocks didn't come from freak athleticism or foul-baiting theatrics. They came from pure skill, strength, and two-way dominance, a true definition of offense and defense in one body. And when you watch him take over a game by himself, you immediately understand why this kind of old-school, pure basketball feels so rare, and so deeply missed. In the locker room after the game, surrounded by teammates' congratulations, Kawhi finally showed a smile we don't see very often.
Kawhi, a.k.a. double nickel, 55? 55 double nickel, first career 50-point game.
Appreciate it. Great. So great. 55, second person. I'm sending all y'all invoice. Y'all gotta get my hair braided again.
So what kind of moment can actually make Kawhi the Robot smile? Back in June 2014, a 22-year-old Kawhi Leonard held the Finals MVP trophy and smiled, something rarely seen. That day happened to be Father's Day in the United States. That honor was his tribute to his father in heaven. But behind that moment was a tragedy that forever changed his life. On January 18, 2008, Kawhi's father, Mark Leonard, was shot and killed at a car wash in Compton. Kawhi was just 16. His father had been his strictest mentor, teaching him how to shoot, taking him hiking to build conditioning, even making young Kawhi redo work if he didn't wash cars properly. The day after the tragedy, Kawhi still suited up to play for his high school team. He scored 17 points that night, and the team lost. After the game, he collapsed into his mother's arms, overwhelmed by pain, unable to understand why this had happened, or why anyone would do something like that. His mother later said, "From that day on, I never saw my son show emotion again." Kawhi engraved rest and peace for his father on his arm, turning grief into silent forward motion. His first NBA head coach, Greg Popovich, once joked, "This kid never talks to me, so I honestly have no idea how confident he is." The Spurs' team-first culture happened to be the perfect place for his silence. Starting out as a defensive specialist, Kawhi slowly became a superstar capable of reshaping the entire league. When he led the Toronto Raptors to a championship in 2019 and won his second Finals MVP, he proved that silence can still be deafening. He wanted to make his father proud, even if his father could no longer see it. To Kawhi, basketball was never just a job. It was a form of expression, a way to speak to memory itself. At 22, he won his first Finals MVP and was personally chosen by Popovich as the heir to the Spurs dynasty. At 23, he won Defensive Player of the Year and was hailed by fans as a modern two-way Jordan, only to be labeled a traitor after one trade. And after dropping a career-high 55 points and 11 rebounds against the Pistons, it suddenly became clear. The Clippers' repeated playoff failures weren't because Kawhi wasn't good enough, it was because his body had betrayed him too many times. From San Antonio to Toronto to the Clippers, injuries have followed Kawhi for years, bringing endless doubt with them. At one point, fans and media even branded him a basketball con artist. You could argue no active player has been more misunderstood than Kawhi Leonard. He's quiet and humble, disappears every offseason, and refuses to let the spotlight invade his private life. What started as protection for his family was twisted into the label of load management. Even today, wild rumors still surround his move from Toronto to the Clippers. Many fans blamed everything on Kawhi, painting him as a player who only cared about contracts. But few people stop to remember, Los Angeles is where he grew up. He could have joined the Lakers. He could have teamed up with LeBron James and probably won even more championships. But he didn't. He came back to LA simply to be closer to his family. If money was all he cared about, Toronto actually offered the most. Some say he chose LA for the market size, but anyone who truly follows Kawhi knows, after joining the Clippers, he didn't suddenly chase endorsements or attention. In the first season after Kawhi Leonard and Paul George teamed up, the Clippers were hit with a brutal blow. In the 2020 playoffs, they held a 3-1 lead over the Nuggets in the Western Conference semifinals, and still managed to lose 3 straight games, completing a historic collapse. When failure strikes, someone always has to carry the blame. And Kawhi's special treatment was suddenly dragged straight into the spotlight. For example, he had an unusually strong say in when he played, when he rested, and even when the team practiced. Some teammates even began to wonder whether certain team practices were repeatedly canceled simply because Kawhi wanted a day off. Kawhi also requested his own private room for pre-game preparation. He didn't change with teammates in the locker room, home or away, no exceptions. What Clippers fans found hardest to accept was this. Since joining the team in 2019, the only playoff run Kawhi managed to finish in full was that 2020 postseason. People started saying he couldn't handle the biggest stages anymore, and that the Clippers' window was already slipping away. So the narrative shifted. People questioned his professionalism, his injury transparency, his time management, and somehow every Clippers failure became his fault. Even after Clippers reporters revealed that team management pressured and injured Kawhi to play for ratings and results, worsening his condition, many still insisted he was faking it. They said he didn't come to the Clippers to win, only to cash in on Ballmer's massive checks. Through all of it, Kawhi never explained himself. He could have blamed everything on injuries. He never did. Since joining the Clippers, he's quietly fought his body and staged comeback after comeback. At 34 years old, Kawhi knows his prime doesn't have much time left. Every season, he tries to change the Clippers' fate, and every season, injuries derail them in the playoffs. In elite competition, once failure becomes repetitive, all past effort is quickly forgotten. On December 28, 2025, a 34-year-old Kawhi Leonard scored 55 points at home, setting a new career high. He doesn't use social media, but he donates cars given by sponsors to charity. Because trophies collect dust, cars help people. He turns his love for family into action, just like his game, quiet, steady, and powerful without noise. This is a winner-take-all arena. Only winners get to tell their stories. And even though Kawhi has already stood on the highest stage twice, we still hope he can fully defeat his injuries. We hope he can climb back to the top once more, and tell, through action alone, the story that belongs only to Kawhi Leonard.